If you're feeling like you don't know where to start with handstands, but you don't have the time to sort through all the available drills online, then lucky for you, I'm going to simplify it down to just 3 areas you need to work on. You can basically ignore everything else while you're at this beginning phase of your handstand journey. And to be honest, it's because if you've got weak wrists, you don't understand how to push, and you don't properly know how to invert and stack yourself in the handstand, you won't be able to get anywhere with any other drills like kick-ups in the middle of the room. So if you stick to this and you progress with these 3 and you're just diligent and consistent, you are guaranteed to make the progress you need with your handstand. Simply put, you will build the correct base you need for your handstand by following the steps in this video. So the first area is focusing on the wrists. And I love this because the strength and integrity of your wrists is basically going to build the base of your handstand. So your wrist work needs to be in every session, and it needs to be prioritized really highly. These exercises will have a double benefit because you can do them on your other training days, even if it's not a handstand session. So you can do them on your upper body day, your back day, your leg day, and you can just do them in your rest periods, in between your leg sessions. We really want to prioritize wrist health so that we avoid injuries of the wrist at all costs. Now, of course, before getting into any of these intense wrist exercises, make sure you warm up your wrists. So once we've done that basic warm-up phase, what we want to do is start to make it a little bit more intense. So we're going to push tall through the shoulders, lean forward, and here we really want to make sure we're keeping the elbows locked out. So don't go to a place where you start to crumble. Keep the elbows locked, lean forward, and then what we're going to do is start to grab the ground with the fingertips. We want to do at least 3 to 5 sets of 10-second hard contractions. After that, we're going to move into the palm lifts. So here, we're stacking the shoulder directly over the wrist. We're leaving the fingers in contact with the floor, and we're pressing under that first knuckle. Okay, and we're trying to get the palm to come all the way up. Like I said, leaving the fingers down, and then we're going to be controlling the down phase here. Now, the key mistake with this one is sending the shoulders back this way to lift up. Okay, doing this loopy motion makes it too easy and you're not actually loading the way that you're meant to. So make sure you stay super stacked. Here we've got Kat demonstrating the palm lifts for us, and we're gonna see how you can make these heavier and heavier. So if we take the knees back a little bit, that's gonna challenge her position. She still did a good job because her shoulders are stacked on top of the wrists and they're able to come up evenly. There'll be a point though when you do make it quite hard, knees go further back, and you'll start to struggle to press up evenly. Our second area of focus is all about scapular control. We are strengthening the muscles of serratus anterior, the pecs and the shoulders. We're really learning how to push. So the simple scap push-up should be learnt and mastered, and then it can be done in various ways. What we're trying to do is understand and feel our shoulder blades and know what they need to do. Pull the shoulder blades together and then learn how to pull them apart or push them apart and push the floor away. It's not about moving the back and simply rounding through the back. So this kneeling variation is the most basic and entry level, so everyone can use it. Next up, we take it to a front support, but everything about the movement is the same. All that's happened is we've added load to the movement. Remember that even though we're setting this up in different positions, it's all about controlling the scaps, learning how to protract them, and also learning how to elevate them. So let's try another variation. In this one, I'll be a little bit more inverted, and I'll have my feet up on a box. So we'll come over, make a pike position with the goal of the hips coming up on top of the shoulders as high as you can manage. Okay, so we don't really want the hips to be back here. We want the hips to be nice and high over the shoulders, but it can become intense for the hamstrings. So if you aren't able to straighten all the way, that's okay. You can have a slight bend in the knee, but still try to keep the hips nice and high. Once you're in the ideal position, or the position you can manage today, we still want to practice that scapular elevation. The most common error with this one is actually softening and bending through the elbows and thinking that you're moving and isolating through the scaps. So you have to be so strict on yourself on that one. Lock those elbows into place and make sure you're just moving through the shoulder blades. So now we move into our third area of focus, and that is the chest to wall handstand. Now, to begin with, the first thing you need to realize is, as a beginner, you are going to be using the wall heavily, and that is okay. You will progress with this over time. The very first learning outcome that we want is getting the sensation of having our joints being totally stacked. Your position here may not be perfect when you first start out, and what I mean by perfect is most people want like a beautifully exact straight line, and that's just not achievable in the beginning. It's fine. You need to work with what you've got in terms of your mobility and your awareness, and what we want to do is use the wall to get that sensation of stacked joints and get super comfortable with that. Alongside learning how to position your body in that stacked shape, we want to build our capacity, okay, so that you've got that good condition and ability to hold. And a good goal is to build up to multiple sets of 60 seconds in your chest to wall. Once you start progressing with your confidence in your chest to wall, you will start to use the wall more lightly. So let's go over what that looks like now. We're just going from a heavy lean on the wall, and then we're slowly going to move into a truer handstand position where we're not on that underbalanced side so much. So Kat's going to show us that by going up. Okay, she's going to be quite close, and almost every part of her body is kind of leaning and touching the wall to begin with. You can see contact with the ribs and the quads, okay? And there's a lot of weight here towards the palm, the base of her hand. Now what we want is to gently start to move that whole shape without it changing too much over. Okay, so the weight suddenly has gone towards the first knuckles. The fingers are reacting to hold her there, and we've just got this gentle space between her and the wall. And she's done that awesomely because she's actually balancing. I thought she was going to keep her toes on, but that can happen when it's done really well. Even though this looks like a slight and minor change, it's actually a big change to get used to. This drill is where you're properly learning to handstand for the first time. We're going from a place of using a wall mainly for our balance to suddenly using our hands and actually understanding our control. So that covers all the three areas you need for handstand. While you're in the process of developing these three elements for your strong handstand base, you should also be working on this next essential step detailed in this video. If you follow it, it will put you miles ahead in your handstand journey.